Patriots for the last 11 years. And a few days ago, we were headed to the Meadowlands, and I looked out at MetLife Stadium, and my thoughts went back to 1997, approaching Giant Stadium for my first Army-Navy game. An amazing experience I had the chance to relive every year for the next decade and a half. In Philadelphia, at the Vet and the Lake, in Baltimore, in Landover. And now I'm extremely excited and proud to welcome you here today to Gillette Stadium. I can't wait to experience the game at home in New England, and for you to experience it here as well, at the home of the six-time Super Bowl champions. It's our honor and privilege to welcome the Academies to Gillette Stadium as America's game comes to New England for the first time in the series' 124-game history. The game will be televised nationally by CBS and worldwide on American Forces Network. And Westwood One Radio will feed its broadcast to 300-plus stations throughout the United States. To add to this historic occasion, the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy is on the line. With an Army win, West Point will hold the CIC Trophy. With a Navy win, the Academies will share the title. It's going to be an awesome experience. I say that from my past and as well my present being part of this organization with the New England Patriots. Without further ado, I'd like to turn things over to the president of the Kraft Group, Jonathan Kraft.
Welcome, everybody. Can't tell you how exciting this day is for everybody here in our building. I'll get to that in a minute, but I want to first just start by thanking a lot of people without whom this event would not be possible. And I'll start with our Governor, Maura. Thank you for everything you've done. We also have our Secretary of Veteran Services, John Santiago, with us. Martha Sheridan from Meet Boston, and I believe Kristen Adamo from the Providence Warwick Visitor Convention Bureau is here too. So without the state of Massachusetts, without the greater Providence business community, this event would not be happening. Also want to welcome our friends from Army and Navy who are here with us today. I'll do this alphabetically, because even though I have a son in the Navy, I am neutral in terms of the outcome of this game. From Army, Lieutenant General Stephen Gillen, who's the superintendent of West Point, is with us. Welcome, sir. Also, we're fortunate to have with us the Army Athletic Director, Mike Buddy. And we're getting one of your students on. There you are, you're sitting over here. We have Coach Jeff Monken with us too, and we have captains from Army, I believe, with us. I haven't met them, but Jimmy Charlo, and Jimmy and Leo Logan. So welcome. Thank you guys for being here at Gillette. From Navy, we have a very memorable face for people in Boston, Chet Gladchuck, the athletic director, Brian Newberry, the head coach. And I haven't met the Navy players either, but I believe that we have Jacob Busick with us. Is that correct? Jacob? Yeah, you're right down in front here. Nice welcome to you. We have Will Harper with us, correct? And also senior quarterback Xavier Arline is with us as well. So welcome to all of you. This day, as I started to say, it's a culmination of a long journey for everybody here at Gillette Stadium. When we first conceived of building this building in the late 90s, it was clearly to have a permanent home for the Patriots in Massachusetts. But we also wanted to create a venue that would attract events that Massachusetts was not able to attract prior. Literally at the top of that list was the Army-Navy game. It's taken us a quarter of a century really to make it happen, but it's really been worth it. And last night, I was at an event in Boston. It's one of the biggest charitable events in the city each year for Children's Hospital Boston called Champions for Children. There must have been 1,400 people. And the energy in the room around this event, which had nothing to do with that event, was palpable. palpable. This is all anybody wanted to talk to me about. And I can tell you that the ticket demand for this game is greater than any AFC championship game that we hosted here, greater than Taylor Swift, greater than anything else we've ever seen. So this next week is just going to be so exciting, and I think as our organization thinks about it, for us, we want to make sure that we show off the region, the passion that we have for sports, because even though this game has rarely moved out of the mid-Atlantic, the military history that exists here in Massachusetts and New England is really deep. The Army and the National Guard, this is the birthplace of both organizations. The Naval's first on-the-water movements in America took place off of the coast of Gloucester, right here in Massachusetts, and obviously the first battles of the Revolutionary War were fought here. So we very much would like to see this become part of the regular tradition and rotation of the game. And on a personal note, growing up, we weren't in the football business, but when I was a young boy, when my brothers were young boys, my dad would sit us down each year to watch the Army-Navy game. He loved football. We weren't in the football business, but he'd sit us down to watch it. And, you know, this is in the 70s, and he would explain to us, because we understood Lakers, Celtics, Bruins, Canadians, Red Sox, Yankees. The Patriots really didn't have any rivals in those days. They were really non-existent. And he would explain that Army-Navy was that type of rivalry, and it was a very important game because you had young men who had signed up to defend the country and to play football and be a part of it. But unlike those professional sports rivalries where the players really didn't like each other when they left the field or the rink, the men who played in that game, my dad would tell us, they fight hard on the field, but they have the utmost respect and trust in each other because they know that when they're done with being at the academies, they're going to go out and protect and defend this country and have to have blind trust in each other out in the field, making sure that the rest of us can enjoy the types of events that go on today in venues like that behind me. And that really stuck with my brothers and I. Now, we did have a rooting interest at that time because my dad's brother was in the Navy and was a naval surgeon, so we were always rooting for Navy, but we've lost that attachment and we will be totally neutral next weekend. And I'll just say, the one other thing for us as a family that we're really proud of is that we have an active reservist in Joe Cardona, an active naval reservist in Joe Cardona, who's on our roster, but each off-season serves. I think he's one of only 2 or 3 in the NFL that are in that role. And we're also proud of the fact that Gillette Stadium was the first stadium in America to have a permanent POW MIA seat. After the press conference, if you walk out onto the balconies, you can see the black seat right here in this end zone next to the row of honor where we see active military men and women each week. And we started that tradition in the NFL, and I'm proud to say that I believe now every stadium in the league has that, so that while we're all enjoying the types of events that go on in venues like this, we all remember the service that all of you are going to be doing to get into this country. So with that, I would just say we're really excited. We hope this is the first of many times we're welcoming Army-Navy here, and it's now my honor to introduce our next speaker, who happens to be not only an athlete, but also the governor of our state. Governor Maura, who's a good friend of mine and our family. She's very special because she went to Harvard and she played basketball there, and she went on and played professionally in Austria, I believe, before the WNBA existed in this country. So she has that mental toughness, fierce competitiveness. She's very smart because she went to Harvard and graduated cum laude. She probably could have gone to the academies too. She's very smart, she did that, but she has the empathy of somebody that ran the Human Rights Division in our state Attorney General's office before she became Attorney General. And I think when you take world-class intellect with an athlete's competitive nature and heart and mental toughness, but with a real empathy for those who need to be protected, much like the people who serve our country. You get an extraordinary leader, and she's been so helpful to us, both in the planning for this game, but also for our state at large. Governor Maura.
Well, good afternoon. Jonathan, thank you so much. Many thanks to you and the Kraft family for your continued commitment to this state, to this region, to making our communities and neighborhoods better every single day. A little later on, there's going to be, as a precursor to America's game, we're going to be hosting, starting today, here at Gillette, here at the Kraft family, all of our high school Super Bowls for the rest of the week. So this place is going to be hopping and fantastic. And it's just an example of the continued ways that the Kraft family looks to support the health and betterment and well-being of young people and families across the state. So thank you, Jonathan, for all that you and your families do. You would be the first to say that we are all patriots. Today's a celebration of all patriots, including, acknowledging some folks that may root against sometimes the people that play here. Okay, we understand that. But today, and this week, and this month, we are all patriots. And on behalf of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I just want to welcome everybody to Massachusetts and to this great, great game. Martha Sheridan and Meet Boston, I know that you worked a long, long time, really hard, talk about putting in the time, along with the Kraft family to bring this home. Congratulations to you and to the entire team for making this happen. It is super, super exciting for us to know that for the first time in the great and storied history of America's game, it's coming to New England and it's coming to Gillette, and that's fantastic. I am really, really proud to be able to serve in this capacity, and one of the reasons I love it so much is the opportunity to work with fantastic people. And that includes our Secretary of Veterans Services. You see, here in Massachusetts, though we have some of the oldest services in the country, and we do a great job taking care of veterans, we have a lot of veterans. It wasn't until this administration, we started in January, that we made the Cabinet Secretary for Veterans Affairs, a cabinet position. And I remember after I got elected, making phone calls to a person who was then stationed in Syria, last October, last November, asking if he would come home when his tour was over and serve. And so joining us here today, and so proud that we are hosting this event, is our Secretary John Santiago, who's a major in the United States Army Reserves and an ER doctor, a trauma surgeon, and is just doing a terrific job as our Veterans Secretary, including most recently announcing important legislation that we filed here just a month ago, the HEROES Act, because in a state that's home to 350,000 veterans and service members, we want to make sure that we are doing everything that we can as a state to support those who serve. It's an honor to, as I say, to be hosting this as a state. We can talk about some aspects of this. Certainly, the Army-Navy game is a huge win for our state. We know, and Martha's looking at me nodding, that there will be significant impact in terms of what it's going to do for Massachusetts, where we're going to have tens of thousands of visitors. Jonathan described more excitement than Taylor Swift, which is saying something, having watched the frenzy this past summer, with over 50,000 tickets already bought by fans from out of state. So we're really, really excited about that. We also think it's really exciting that it is happening here in New England. I will tell you that we're about ready to celebrate a big year in Massachusetts. We've got our 250th anniversary of the Revolution coming up this year. I can't think of a better way to kick it off than with America's game here next week. Part of that history, as you know, includes kicking things off here with the Tea Party. A week after this big game, we're going to be celebrating the anniversary, actually, of the Boston Tea Party, where a bunch of people raised hell in a harbor just north of here that sort of kicked the whole thing on. We're also going to be celebrating, of course, the shots heard around the world, the battles, Lexington and Concord. We're proud that Massachusetts is the birthplace of the National Guard, going back as far as 1636, and obviously significant start in the formation of the United States Army. We're also home to the USS Constitution, which, as you know, Old Ironsides is the world's oldest commissioned naval warship. This year will mark the 225th anniversary of its very first voyage. We welcome you to step aboard if you have time up in the Charlestown Navy Yard in Boston. So you look at all this, and you can tell why it's incredibly poignant for us in Massachusetts to be welcoming the players, the teams, the staff, their families, their friends, their supporters to Massachusetts for this game, because we take a certain pride here in our state. We're home in a state of first school, first college, first public library, countless innovations. We're home to some fantastic sports teams and rivalries for sure. But I think most importantly for these purposes, you know, we're the place where it all began. And this is a great, great country. And we are so lucky to live in this country. And we are so lucky to live in the democracy that we live in. And it's only a democracy because of people like you who serve and continue to serve and who are willing to serve. And for that, we are so, so grateful. We want to make sure that people know all of our wonderful historical sites will be open. We've got many to show off here. So in the midst of taking in a lot of great football and festivities, encourage people to get out and visit what we have to offer. And just to really celebrate this occasion. Jonathan mentioned something about my athletic background. I'm very much a has-been and a former point guard, but I do know what it takes to play D1 athletics, and I just want to say something to the players here today. It's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing that's gotten you to this point to be able to play at the level that you're playing at. That in and of itself is a huge, huge accomplishment and a credit to you and to your families and to your coaches and all who continue to make that happen. And you know, that goes for the captains and it goes for entire teams. It is also the case that you do something that other players like me never did and never signed up for. And the fact that you go to a service academy and you're able to compete at that level and put the time in and do your classes and do your training, all knowing the service that you're going to be giving to our country is phenomenal, just phenomenal. And you know, I'm very moved just thinking about it. And I just want to say, as one former captain to captains who stand head and shoulders above the rest of us, thank you for what you do. Thank you for the time that you put in. Thank you for the example that you are. Because as millions will watch a week from Saturday, you guys out there going at it, they are going to see the very best in service. They're going to see the very best in what this country is about and what we have to offer. And they're going to see teamwork and partnership and competition and fight. And all these things are so, so important. And most importantly, they're going to see you guys come together at the end of it, no matter what happens, and celebrate our great country and our great service academy. So I wanted to present you with some gifts representing what we think are the values of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, values that we think that you fight for every single day and will continue to do so as you move forward. And at this time, if possible, I'd ask our great captains to come forward to receive gifts from the state of Massachusetts. Why don't you come right up here? Come right up here. So we're going to present you with replicas of bowls that were designed and produced by Paul Revere. You heard of Paul Revere? He is a pretty seminal figure in the course of American history. And importantly, he's from here, right? So in addition to being an incredible soldier and founding member of the Sons of Liberty. He led the resistance that became the American Revolution. He also served as an officer in the Massachusetts militia, and he happened to be on the side dabbling in all sorts of other things, including being a kick-ass silversmith, it turns out. And so part of what he was doing is producing incredible pieces of silver that live on today in museums really all around the world. And this is a very special Paul Revere bowl. It's a replica, of course, of what Paul Revere produced, but it is the Sons of Liberty bowl. And so we want you to have this as a token of our deep gratitude, deep appreciation for what you all represent, what America's game represents, and hope that you come back when you have more time, because right now you gotta get ready to play. When you have more time, come back and see Paul Revere's house in the north end of Boston. It's also home to the greatest Italian neighborhoods and a good place to cargo load. You come back and visit Paul Revere's house and take in that history, but we thought this was befitting of the occasion and what each of you represent and what America's game represents. So with that, I'm going to produce and give to you each a Paul Revere. Okay?
I was born at Bethesda Naval for real, so I'm not choosing sides either. But we got a lot of money in my uncles and my grandfather. But I just reminded me actually. By the way, we're going to raffle up. We'll raffle up. You don't have to worry about it. Braidwood, New Jersey. He's a huge New England Patriots fan. Gentlemen, come up here. Let's get a picture. Thank you. Best of luck to both teams.
We've already heard our next speaker acknowledged a couple of times. She's already been active today. Let's welcome the President and CEO of Meet Boston, Martha Sheridan.
Good afternoon. It's such a pleasure to be here. Governor, you're a tough act to follow, and I just want to say that we are very lucky to have you as our head coach right now in Massachusetts. Massachusetts. You've been a great supporter of all of our efforts. Jonathan, Craft Sports Group, has been a great partner to us in Boston and throughout Massachusetts. And as was mentioned before, we've been working on this effort for many years. Phil, who's played the lead role in this, and I started working on this when I was in Providence, Rhode Island, as the CEO at Go Providence 12 years ago. So it's been a labor of love for us. We work very closely with our partners at Go Providence, the Rhode Island Sports Commission, of course, in Boston, and the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism. So it's absolutely been a collective effort. In our world, in the tourism world, and in the sports marketing world, we are very competitive, and we love a good win. So for us to finally receive news that we would be hosting this extraordinary game was sweet news to us on so many levels. And of course, the governor acknowledged we have a huge economic impact from this event. We've got people staying in hotels across the region from Providence on up through Boston. Boston's lucky to be play host to both of the teams, as well as USAA, and thousands of fans this week. So we're really excited about that. But for me personally, this event is so much more than just economic impact. It's just something that we are so proud to say that we are going to host. And I know that we will make you all proud as a host city and as a host state. People are just thrilled and honored to have this game here. I am the daughter of a former Marine, the sister of a former naval surgeon. I will not pick sides either, as Jonathan said, but you know, for me, this is a very personal game as well. We're so excited. I was in Philly last year. It was so exciting. The pomp and circumstance that leads up to the game is like nothing I've ever seen before, and I can't wait to see it again next weekend right here at Gillette Stadium. I also want to acknowledge the fact that Boston will host a really fun sister event to this game, which is the Patriot Games, where the teams, two teams, one from each academy, will battle it out for athletic feats, and tying into the 250th theme, we've picked some really extraordinary locations for these events to take place, starting in Lexington and Concord, heading into the Boston Common, over to Faneuil Hall, and then of course Charlestown, where the final event will take place. And we will work with the commander there to have a great celebration at the Charlestown Naval Yard. So Boston's going to be the place to be. And as was also mentioned, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Boston Tea Party a week after the game. We like to call this the event that really launched the American Revolution. And we have a lot of friendly competition in our world. The CEO of the Philadelphia Convention and Visitors Bureau was one of my closest friends. When he found out they weren't hosting the game in 2023, we may have had a little bit of a falling out, but we have friendly banter, and we're proud that Massachusetts will be hosting America's game. But we do like to say, in the spirit of friendly competition, that the 250th, while many people associate the birth of this country with Philadelphia, our monikers, a line that I stole from former Mayor Marty Walsh, which is, here in Boston, we did the heavy lifting, and in Philadelphia, they did the paperwork. So in the spirit of competition, we're really excited to have you all here. I hope that you have an extraordinary time. Again, I want to thank Phil and my colleagues from Providence for their continued support. I want to thank my team, who's worked extraordinarily hard on this event for many years and months, and made the best team win. So thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today.
And as you've seen and heard, we are delighted today to have our presenting sponsor here. It's been the presenting sponsor of the Army-Navy Games since 2009, USAA. And joining us to speak next is someone who knows what it's like to compete in Army-Navy. He's a West Point grad. He's the USAA Senior Military Affairs Representative at the U.S. Military Academy. Let's welcome Gus Herder.
Army guy wearing blue. I look at it as stylish camouflage, and Good afternoon, everybody. It's exciting to be here and celebrate the 124th game, the Army-Navy game presented by USAA. As mentioned, my name is Army Colonel Retired Gus Herter, USA Senior Military Advisor. And I'm a proud member of the West Point class of 1990. But also, I'd like to introduce a couple of my friends. Navy Captain Retired Derek Turner, as well as Navy Command Master Chief Retired Mike Hurley, from part of my USA co-workers. Together, the three of us have served for 91 years in this country. Too many deployments to count. And I will tell you, Mike, being from the sub force, a submariner, that he's very excited about the Navy uniforms this year. So, good job with the uniform. But looking at all of our years of service, we can honestly say that we know what it means to serve. And so on behalf of our CEO, Wayne Peacock, it's an honor to join you in celebrating our cadets and midshipmen, these young adults attending each of the academies that have made a decision to serve, that shows and demonstrates courage, determination, and a sense of service that is awe-inspiring to this nation. As a company founded for the military, by the military, USA feels privileged to be part of the Army-Navy families. You know, the 4 years that I spent at West Point were some of the best years of my life, and there's nothing that can compare to the Army-Navy rivalry. This rivalry is truly special. There aren't two fan bases more passionate about their schools, nor two that have more respect for each other. It is the balance between wanting to beat each other out on the field and yet still recognizing a shared sense of commitment and service that makes this one of the most sacred events in all of sports. You know, Derek, Mike, and I have been around this game for quite a while, America's game. And yet, you know, as we kind of looked at the situation coming up here to Gillette Stadium, you know, what is some of the tactical advantage for either team playing at this wonderful venue, Gillette Stadium? Yes, Navy leads the series 62-54 with 7 ties. Foxborough, but know this, Foxborough will be the 11th city in Massachusetts, the 6th state to host the game. Gillette Stadium will be only the 19th location ever to host America's game. By the way, of the previous 18, 8 have been since demolished. Army did have a slight advantage in 8 of those venues, so I think that was part of the Navy's plan there. But I think Gillette Stadium is an awesome facility that will be standing for a long time and hopefully support the game in many, many years to come. You know, since 2009, as Bob mentioned, USA has been the presenting sponsor. Navy leads the series 9-5. Yet since I've been at USAA, which is only 1 year, the series has won Army and 0 Navy. But at the end of the day, Derek, you know, this is just what matters in the game, is that it's the only game where everybody on the field is willing to lay down their life for everybody watching. Yes, one team will win, one team will lose, yet we, America, is better off because when the final whistle blows and graduation comes, these young men and women will take their place as future leaders of this great nation. Our USAA support will continue for years to come, and in some small way, this allows us to say thank you for your service, and thank the great military institutions for their service today and in the future. So thank you, go Army, and be Navy.
Thank you, Gus. The academies would also like to recognize the game's 4 participating partners: Chevrolet, The Exchange, Duke Cannon Supply Company, Palantir Technologies. They've all made a tremendous commitment to Army, Navy, and the academies offer their sincere appreciation for their support. In addition to the 2023 Army-Navy game, a number of associated events will be held at historic sites throughout the greater Boston area, as you've heard. Fan Fest, which for the first time ever will be hosted in advance of the game as well as on game day. It's on Thursday, December 7th and Friday, December 8th, open to the general public within the NL Plaza, right outside of where we are, looking down on the NL Plaza here at Gillette Stadium. The 15th annual Patriot Games competition between cadets and midshipmen, hosted at various Massachusetts historical sites. Friday, December 8th, including Minuteman National Park, Boston Common, Faneuil Hall, a pep rally at Faneuil Hall, and the Army-Navy Gala in the Heinz Convention Center. And on Saturday morning before kickoff, we're honored to welcome College Game Day here to Gillette Stadium for the first time ever in the lead-up to Army-Navy. And now, as the son, the tech sergeant, of the U.S. Army, it's my honor to welcome the 61st Superintendent of the United States Military Academy at West Point, Lieutenant General Stephen W. Gillette.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are we doing? Where's my veterans out there? All right, I know I've got some veterans. All right. Now, thank you all for your service, absolutely, and being here and supporting our nation. Brother Healy, Team Kraft, Ms. Sheridan, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for having us here today. We're truly honored and excited to be here at this iconic stadium for this year's Army-Navy game. I'd like to thank the many partners and teammates throughout New England for their incredible hospitality and support, not just for the game, but for both of our service academies, our cadets and our mids, and for our nation's armed forces and our veterans. Governor Healy, ma'am, thank you and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for rolling out the red carpet for us. It's been pretty amazing. Ms. Sheridan and your team at Meet Boston, thank you so much for your tremendous support and what you've been doing over the past few months. Of course, to Derek Turner and Gus Herder and all the USA team, thanks for all your support and what you do for our cadets and our midshipmen also. Gus and I are actually classmates from the United States Military Academy and have been fortunate enough to serve over the past 33 plus years together in a number of places. And of course, to the Kraft family, sir, to you and all of your team in the organization, and in particular Phil Budafoco, we cannot begin to describe just how honored and grateful we are for your phenomenal support and efforts in making this a reality and bringing America's game to one of the greatest sports towns in America. Mr. Kraft, when your dad first hosted the Lombardi Trophy in New Orleans in '02, and many times since then, he told the world that we're all patriots. I'd like to echo that sentiment, and I hope to speak for everyone here that because of your incredible support and hospitality, not only are we all patriots, but the patriotism that resides here in this state and specifically here is just immeasurable. So thank you, sir. The Army-Navy game has a rich history dating back to 1890 when Cadet Dennis Mikey, for whom our stadium at West Point is named, accepted a challenge from a group of Navy midshipmen for a friendly game of football. According to one account, young Cadet Mikey, he did a little bit of arm twisting to get Army to make the challenge, knowing full well back then, West Point did not have a football team. Although Army fought hard, Navy won that first game. And then came the second game, of which we won, and the true rivalry was born and initiated in the early 1890s. Over the years, this annual Gridiron Classic has served as a welcome oasis for some of our nation's most difficult times. During World War II, when many colleges suspended their football programs, Army and Navy played on while supporting the war effort. Years later, following President Kennedy's assassination, the Army-Navy game was the first major college sporting event to play, to honor the Commander-in-Chief, and to bring a little bit of comfort and relief to a grief-stricken nation. Throughout its storied history, the Army-Navy game has brought Americans together for this annual showcase of grit, tenacity, and excellence. America's game, we call it. More importantly, it's America's game because of what the game truly represents. A celebration of service, of what makes our nation great, of what bright looks like. More than a game, it's a showcase of America's finest. The young men and women from both academies, committed to selfless service as the next generation of leaders of our armed forces, America's team, and truly our nation, prepared to stand shoulder to shoulder in harm's way. To support and defend our nation and its values, and ideals. We're all looking forward to next week's game and Army bringing the Commander-in-Chief trophy back. Yes, I am not neutral, I am absolutely biased. To bring it back to West Point where it belongs. But more importantly, we look forward to showcasing America's best, our nation's future leaders of character. Thank you all very much for having us here today. It's now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Mike Buddy, the United States Military Academy Director of Athletics. Go Army.
Good afternoon. Just some quick echoes. Obviously, USA phenomenal partners through global pandemics and economic crises. So Derek, Mike, Gus, thank you for being representing the sponsor. Jonathan and the entire Kraft family, what an amazing facility you provided this great showcase. We appreciate it. Governor Gillette, thank you for your presence and your support of this great event. As with any great events, as I look around this room, the people who are doing most of the work are the ones sitting on the outskirts or standing in the back. And I look at Phil over here kind of hiding. We came here 5 years ago for the first time. It was the worst weather I've ever seen in my life at a football game. Man, this facility has changed. When we officially awarded the bid, oftentimes we hear about all the great things that are going to be done and the support that we're going to receive. And it doesn't always necessarily come to fruition. I will say that Phil and his team exceeded our expectations in every step of the word. And so thank you for what you've done and what you continue to do. So this event for me is always the most exciting. I always think that this kicks off Army-Navy Week. I know it's 10 days from now, but I didn't go to Harvard or either of the academies. But it really starts to become tangible. The excitement starts to exude in everything that we do. But it's important for those of you who follow college football. Army-Navy has always been a special event. It's always been a special game. I would argue it's never been more special. As I look at the young men at this table and the young men at that table, none of them are receiving financial gain for their name, image, and likeness. None of them are taking online classes. None of them chose to transfer somewhere else to get a little more playing time when they had that opportunity a few years ago. And certainly none of them are going to be fifth year or sixth year or seventh year seniors. These young men and the men at their tables who teach them about grit and tenacity, develop them into leaders of character, are truly what this game is about. And so it's a privilege for me to play a small role in getting this to this stage. So it's my opportunity and my pleasure to introduce our coach, who's in his 10th year now at Army West Point, the second winningest coach in the history of Army football, Coach Gov Maura.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you to the Kraft family and the Great New England Patriots organization. What an honor to be here and to play in this stadium. So many great teams. Coach Belichick and legendary coach. I got a chance to see him out here when I got here. Thanks to you. Thanks for hosting this game. Thanks for this great event. Thanks, Governor Healy and the people of the state of Massachusetts for hosting this game and making us feel welcome. This is an incredible reception. As Mike said, we've gone to 10 of these in a row, and this is as good a reception as we've had, and we really appreciate that. John, Major Santiago, welcome home. Appreciate what you do. Gus, we're going to get you a new suit. And Jonathan, I am watching you because you got a blue suit on, so we got to get a neutral suit. Well, I tried. We're honored to be here and honored to represent the men and women that serve in the United States Army, and that really is what this game is about. The young men that play for Navy are men that play for Army, and the men and women that serve in those same uniforms. And it's just a privilege and an honor to be a part of this game, to be a part of a competition that represents those men and women that serve. Men and women who are at foxholes somewhere around the world, who are forward operating bases, naval stations, places around the globe, and here domestically. And the fact that we get a chance to represent them next Saturday in a competition that will be as fierce and as competitive as any game that's played this year. And that's what's incredible about this game, is the competitors on the field and how hard they're fighting to win. And it's just an awesome game to be a part of. I've been honored to be a part of many of these, and it never gets old. Every year, it is an incredible event. And so we're excited to be here and excited to share with the people of Massachusetts and the college football world. Our two captains that are here with us, that were able to join us today, Leo Lowen from Austin, Texas, plays linebacker. Jimmy Charlo from Ringwood, New Jersey, plays nickel for us. These are outstanding young men, and they're a great representation, both of our football program as well as our academy. These academies, and it's been said many times, they're special places because they are home to generations of Americans who have made a pledge to serve. And any one of these guys could have gone to other colleges. They're talented, they're intelligent, and they could have chosen certainly an easier path and another place to go to school. But they chose to serve. They chose to go to an academy and to take on the responsibilities that come with being a graduate from one of our service academies, and that is to serve our nation, to serve in the military, to lead soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen into sometimes the most difficult of circumstances. And so, this unbelievable respect for this game and what this represents and who they represent, and all the classmates of theirs that will be sitting up in the stands, cheering their hearts out. All of them have made that same commitment to serve. And so it's just a privilege to be here. I hope everybody enjoys this game. It's an incredible game. We're excited to be playing the game here in a great football state, in a great football community, and an unbelievable football stadium with an organization that has a rich tradition of its own. So hope you have a great afternoon. Look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Be Navy. All right, so I didn't get the schedule of events here. Our captains are going to talk. So I will again introduce Leo Lowen, who's a starting linebacker for us from Westlake High School in Austin, Texas, which is one of the great high school programs in the state of Texas. He'd be glad to tell you that. Jimmy Charlo from Ringwood, New Jersey, St. Joseph's Regional High School. So we've got two other captains that weren't able to join us today, but I'll welcome these guys to the stage.
Thank you, Coach. From both of us, we'd like to thank you all for the hospitality and welcoming us up here today to this beautiful facility. It's really awesome. And then on behalf of the team, we'd like to thank Governor Healy, thank you, the Kraft family, the New England Patriots, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and anybody else who's involved in allowing this to come to fruition. It's really an amazing opportunity, and we're excited to play the first ever Army-Navy game in history up here in Foxborough. So thank you.
Now let's meet the Director of Athletics at the United States Naval Academy since 2001, Ken Kraetzer.
All I've heard this morning is be Navy. Damn, how about being Army? I thought that one was sort of a change of pace. A couple things, if I may. First of all, those Revere bowls are beautiful. Very, very nice. Thank you, ma'am. Prices. In the government sector, there's a limit on the amount of money that caps the gifts you can receive. So I'm sure we'll find something that says $24.99 on it rather than $25, so we won't have to return them, which would be great. Bob Sosi was here, MC, who is the voice of Navy athletics for 15 years. We miss you, Bob. We really do. You're tremendous. That great booming voice that you had all those years, calling the touchdowns and the 3 points, shots is missed. But it's great to hear it again today. I'm glad to have you here. To have the governor here is special, and to us, it's just so reflective of the unity, the sense of oneness that is New England, that is Boston, that is this great state of Massachusetts. When Mike and I came to visit, the first overview of what the event could look like here in New England, and we were greeted by Governor Baker, who was here, and Mayor Wu came aboard. We had all the contingent from Providence that was here, and it was a real team effort. Bob Kraft and Jonathan have been extraordinary. There's no question about it because they provide the venue, the host. But it really, I feel, and we're coming into an environment here that's just the entire state of Massachusetts and all of New England is welcoming this game. And it's something that makes it special and just has a warm touch to every bit of it. No question about that. To Mike, my comrade and buddy up at West Point, and to Jeff Monken, who's worked for us at Navy, we've known him for a long time. Congratulations on all the good things that are happening up there. And I don't think I'd be out of order to welcome you to the AAC as well. The American Athletic Conference is going to be their first year in 24, and will be patriots, so to speak, within the conference. And the reason I bring it up as a point of note is that we will not play a game during the regular season. So the Army-Navy game will remain preserved as something that will happen after the AAC championship. So the Army-Navy game again will be always continued in its truest historic form, which is separate from that which would be regular season, which is great. Kathy and I still have, my wife Kathy and I still have a home up in Cape Cod, so we make the trek every summer, and we work our way up through the 95 corridor. And I'll tell you right now, there's a bottleneck on 95. It's not Massachusetts, man. Okay, it's in Connecticut. That state of Connecticut is a killer. If you think it's tough during the summer, with tourist traffic, we can see 100 buses coming up from Annapolis, Maryland, with midshipmen blocking that traffic lane up in Connecticut. So they better be ready as we make the trek. The logistics were tough. There's no question. This is the first time we've been out of our, if I may, our zip code, and that being New York and Washington and Baltimore and Philly, and make the stretch, so to speak, to come up here to New England. But there was great energy and great enthusiasm by the entire institution when Mike and I made the decision to come to Boston with of course, the concurrence of our superintendents that, we could make it happen. And to bring up 4,000 bids, which is normally an 8-hour ride up that corridor, was quite a logistical challenge. But our people, I think, have done a great job, and we'll get them up here safe and sound, and we expect everyone to be here. Of course, on the big day when we tee it up. Just a quick story, if I may, before I introduce Brian, is how it all happened. About 12 years ago, Mike had not yet taken the reins as the athletic director at Army. And Bill Corrigan was the AD at the Army, and we were cornered one day in a Patriot League meeting, both in the Patriot League, Army and Navy, in Rhode Island for a meeting at Gurney's Resort, and Phil Bonafico, Phil, you've been mentioned a couple of times, but I don't want you to get beyond anyone how instrumental he's been, of course, with the backing of both Bob Kraft and Jonathan. But Phil met us there one day on the veranda for lunch and said, listen, there is a venue that would welcome this game beyond your wildest dreams. And of course, it's Gillette Stadium and the city of Boston. So we started that dialogue 12 years ago, and we had the first cycle of what we call an RFP process. And Boston threw their hat in the ring, and we did all the visits and everything else, and For a couple of reasons, it didn't quite work out, but the second round was really extraordinary. And Mike kind of alluded to it a minute ago. We came up, we visited, and of course, Bob Kraft was on a mission. There's no question about it. This was a passion of his to see this happen. He cornered me in his office with Mike and the two of us against the wall. He goes, "You see that? That's a guitar signed by Mick Jagger, the Rolling Stones. You see that? That's Bono. That's what he wore when he performed here. Okay, now we got Taylor Swift has been in the mix. Because they brought me over the corner and said, "You see that? That's even the Dalai Lama who we've hosted. But yet we've never hosted the Army-Navy game. We got to find a way to make this happen." In that second round, you know, his enthusiasm, his energy, and Phil Botafuco and his team really are the reason that this all came into play. You know, we had options, 15 cities bid this game, and we narrowed it down. But Phil, you set the bar. And we've been to some great venues. We've seen some wonderful, as the general mentioned, red carpets rolled out. But I'm here to tell you that no one does it better in terms of pregame preparation than Gillette Stadium, Phil Botafuco, and the Crafts. You know, and the team that Mike alluded to a moment ago. They've done a magnificent job. And, you know, we knew the energy was there when we sold, you know, our allotment of 25,000 tickets 6 months ago. In about 3 weeks, everything was gone. You know, just because the focal point being so special, but if you're in a city and state, in a region, and a group of professionals that really know how to get the job done, without any question of a doubt. Now, Mike mentioned something that I think is important. I'm going to echo it. The game's changed. Division I athletics is different. It's not going to get any better. We're looking at NILs, we're looking at transfer portals, we're looking at pay for play, all kinds of crazy things are going on right now in our business. But I'm telling you right now that you're looking at this game, you're looking at tradition, you're looking at history that won't change. You're looking at the last frontier, as far as I'm concerned, of true amateurism. Now this game represents just that, the roots, the fiber of what amateurism is all about. Some of the values we've lost, and I'm embarrassed to say, as a longtime Division I athletic director, we've let get away, our priorities have changed, it's now become such an incredible money-driven entity that's it's depressing in some respects. But you won't lose it here. You won't lose it at Army. You won't lose it at Navy. You won't lose it at Air Force. Because these young men, as has been pointed out, represents the fiber of what this game is all about. And they have the responsibility to carry forward the traditions of what Army Navy represents. And we're extremely proud of what we as academies represent. And we won't let that ever get away. With that, I'm proud to introduce our head football coach, and Brian Newberry. Brian has been a man that's been with us for 4 years, one of the most astute defensive minds in the country. When there was a transition called for, you know, we looked no further than down the hallway to bring someone in who we had the greatest degree of confidence could put the pieces together and make that transition smooth as possibly be. And we're proud of what he's accomplished in the first year. Any head football coach will tell you, trying to put together a staff, trying to put together the pieces, change philosophies. It's just an extraordinary challenge. And to be where we are today with what he's accomplished has made us all very, very proud. Not just in Annapolis, but throughout the fleet in the world. So Brian, thanks for what you do. Thanks for what you represent. Thanks for being our leader. We're very, very proud to introduce to you Coach Newberry. Coach.
Thank you, Chet. Good afternoon. I'd like to thank Jonathan and the Kraft family, New England Patriots organization for hosting this. My first time up here, Gillette, what a beautiful venue this is. I know our players are excited about it. I'm excited about it as well. Mayor, thank you very much. I want to thank former Navy basketball great Derek Turner and Gus Berger, Senior Military Affairs Relations Advisor for USAA, our fantastic presenting sponsor, as well as the 4 additional game partners. We're excited to be here. I got to Navy in 2019. My first game. Being a part of that 2019 was special. People try to tell you what it's like to coach in that game. I've never been as a spectator, so my first time was as a coach, which you can't fully understand until you participate. There's a certain kind of energy, a certain kind of patriotism, a certain kind of pride that you feel when you walk onto the field. Great respect for Army, great respect for Coach Duncan and what he's done there, for those cadets, the way they handle their business, the way they play. I admire the way they play from an effort standpoint, from a fight standpoint, and excited about this game because I feel like our guys do the same thing. I think there's no game in the country. There's a lot of great rivalries. Nothing quite like Army Navy. There's a lot of intersectional rivalries. Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, so on and so forth. But there's no game like this. There's no effort put forth in a game like the Army Navy game. And there's so much at stake. But such a great mutual respect between both teams, coaches. Great respect, as I said, to Coach Munkin and their staff, and there's several guys on that staff. Couldn't say enough good things about them. The nerves you have in this game are unreal. I was in the press box in 2019, and so much adrenaline going through my body that I could hardly write notes on a notepad. A lot of great memories from years that we won and years that we lost. Seeing second, seeing a midshipman up in the stands, smile on our faces, the joy in our players' faces. And we lost, and seeing the grief and devastation on our players' faces. Just knowing how important this is, what it means to so many people, and what it represents. Pressure is a privilege, and there's a lot of pressure in this game, but it's pressure because it's such an important game. And I just can't say other good things about the guys I get to coach on a daily basis. I feel like they have the best job in the country. It's a joy to go to work every day knowing that you're coaching some of the best and the brightest young men in the country. They're going to be playing some of the best and the brightest young men in the country on Saturday. So just really blessed to be a part of it, really fortunate. Humbled when you coach in this game, when you walk on the field. Great responsibility, but man, what an unbelievable privilege it is to get to coach these guys and to get to coach in this game. That means so much to so many people, not just the guys on the field, but obviously those that have served, those that are currently serving, an opportunity to showcase our players and how they handle their business, opportunity for Army to do the same thing, and opportunity to share light on our armed services, armed forces, and those people that have served and are serving currently. So, just great to be a part of it. We've got 3 captains here with us today, really 2 named captains and one that might as well be a captain for us. These guys are especially young men that have been through a lot of adversity, both personally, as a football team, that's adversity to fight through. Guys have remained, stayed the course, remained tremendous leaders for us. Will Harper from Frisco, Texas, linebacker, 3-year starter now, right? Yeah. Represents everything Navy football and Naval Academy is all about. Jacob Busick, defensive end from Maryland, local product. Right? Jacob, named captain, tore his bicep 3rd game of the year playing playing Memphis. Didn't think he'd make it back. Find out this week that he had a shot to play in the game. Looks like he's going to, so we're fired up about that. As soon as we find out, so come on up, let's make this trip together, man. But again, phenomenal young man. Can't say enough good things about him and his leadership. Sometimes when you have adversity, you have an injury like that, the player starts to get checked out. Jacob has not done that. He's continued to lead our program and pour into our players and help in any way that we can. then Xavier Arline, guy that I have a ton of respect for, and I'm glad he's sitting here. Has been through some adversity himself. Anytime you move a quarterback, you move positions, quarterbacks don't always handle that well. He handled it like a champ, embraced his role, did everything he could to help his program, put a smile on his face, kept leading. Right now, he's back leading us as our quarterback. I'm just proud of you, man. I can't say enough good things about all of you. So with that being said, right, you guys got to come up now, right?
Wow, what an amazing opportunity it is to be here today. Never been to Boston before, so I want to thank Boston for hosting this game. The ride in, just gorgeous. And then the stadium, the Patriots, thank you guys. Such an amazing place. I mean, looking at the stadium, the jumbo screen with Army Navy across it. I just can't wait. Thank you, everybody, the support staff, for making today happen. Like I said, it's such an amazing opportunity to be here today, and this wonderful event with all of you. And thank you.
And I'd like to thank everybody for turning out today. Governor Healy, Jonathan, Martha, to Jeff and Brian and all your players. Have a great game. I know you're going to have a great experience. We'll see you a week from Saturday. Thanks, everybody. We do ask the captains and the coaches to come up. We're going to have a picture. A picture is good to go.
Probably where we're supposed to be going next. That's where yes. We're trying to confirm. So week before last, we were right over here. And they were saying go to E2 now. I don't know how to get there. So at least it's Then you walk straight through, double doors, continue walking, you see everybody else.
Double doors. Oh, you say double doors?
Yes, sir. Double doors.
It's walking through these double doors.
Unless they're going to ask you.
Hey, Eric. I just talked to Matt Garrett at ESPN.
Oh, sure.
They are talking about some reporter.
Pre-recorded, right?
We're going to be in a different location each, but like at a historic spot.
That's what he mentioned. Yeah.
For us, and I'm not sure for you, but I was like, look,
That's what he kind of pitched that to me too, and I was like, okay, we could get in the van and go 15 minutes. That's at least a little bit of a compromise.
100%. More than that, more than
So yeah, I think that's completely fair. So, how's everything? When did you guys come in? Last night?
No, we flew in this week.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we flew in last night.
Oh, nice. Okay. We took that. So we're at the soup time. Are you guys? Are they going back? Are you guys practicing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you staying for this meeting? You going back with them on the jet? Oh yeah, we have a basketball game at 4 o'clock, like because it's our branch night tonight at 7. So the game's at 4, and then like everybody and their mothers up here for this. So it's like the basketball game is forgotten, you know. So everything else going all right?
Good.
Round it up, yeah. I hear you. If you need anything before next week, yeah, we'll be in touch. I got you. I'll give you press box seats, and I'll get you a best list this week too, just so you have your tracking in.
No problem.
Yeah.
I pass that on to Matt, and usually he handles it, but you can send it to me, and I can forward it.